It's always a bit scary sharing a stage with my mother-in-law, Rebbetzin Dov.
I was going to say that you muted.
Okay. I don't get the luxury to mute you. Okay, what we're going to do tonight, we've heard some fantastic ideas about how to make the Seder alive, how to get ready for it, incredible, beautiful ideas. Now, what we want to make sure is that when you actually come to doing your Seder night, that nobody gets confused by all the little details, okay? Now, these details are very important. I always say to people, look at it as a choreographed dance, where it's important to get every single little move right. And we're going to show you exactly how to do it, so it's going to be easy and it's going to go well. Now, Rebbetzin Dov has experience. Anyone who's been at her Seder table before, I've had the pleasure and privilege of being there. And there we go. There you can see a sneak preview of the Dov Seder table. Wow, we're so impressed. Rebbetzin Dov is so organized that she has laid her Seder table 10 days before Pesach. Especially for this evening. So thank you very much for doing that.
Unfortunately, my screen on the phone, which I had my tripod set up, is not connecting and is making too much noise. So we'll just have to show you everything as it goes.
Okay, perfect. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you some of the details of how to get the 3 parts of the Seder right. We're going to give you 3 parts of the Seder where it's easy to get confused. Those are the first one, which is Kadesh, making Kiddush at the beginning. Then there's going to be the Karpas, the very first dipping of the vegetable that we do. And after that, the Matzah and the Maror. And Rebbetzin Dov, I think you're going to give us some tips. Is that right? Based on, I don't know how many years of Seder night.
Well, actually, it's even more years than we have been actually married. But I think my first Seder night I actually made was 40 years ago with some friends as well. We had to make second Seder night. So it's 40 years this year.
You know, it would be amazing to add up the number of people that have sat at your Seder table over those 40 years.
I think not only the number, but the different countries. Because we have Seder night, Manishta asked in every language around the world. And one year we had, I think, 12 countries, 12 languages, including Donald Duck talk. So there you go.
That's right. And obviously one of those is Afrikaans. For all the South Africans who are watching, don't worry, that is part of the family tradition. I can't say that I've learned it yet myself, but it is definitely a family tradition.
Well, as my husband's even learned to speak Arabic as well as we close our eyes and leave, right?
That's right. Okay, so Kiddush. So the very first of the 4 cups is also going to be the very first, it's going to be the first that we've drunk for a while, actually, and it's going to be Kiddush as well. So the first thing is how much of the cup, how big should the cup be? So Rebbetzin Dov there has got a couple of different cups. Some people use a becher, which is a silver one, just like you use on Friday night. Remember, there's going to be 4 cups, whether it's wine or grape juice. So some people prefer to drink it from a glass cup, like a wine glass. That's absolutely fine, whichever one you prefer. Now, I would say the following, though. The best thing to do, the very, very best thing to do is to drink all of the cup or to drink the majority of the cup, okay? That is what you should be aiming to do. And therefore, make sure your cup is not too big. You've got a very huge wine glass, and the best thing is to drink the majority of the cup. You don't have to drink, oh my gosh, yeah, that one, don't use that one. If you have 4 cups of wine from that one, then you won't make it till the end of the night. So the first tip is to make sure your cup is not too big. How big is not too big? Some people do 150 milliliters. And when saying that falls on Shabbat, then definitely that's the best thing to do. And others say 86 mil. So depending on how much you like your wine or your grape juice, but that should be 150 mil is not that big. So a paper cup, if you can picture an ordinary paper cup, that holds 200 mil. So we're looking at about the size of 3/4 of that.
I'm going to add in as well, it does not have to be all the wine. You could also choose your grape juice option, half and half. And there also is a very good wine called Yayin Kal, light wine, which has a light alcohol content. So it's definitely worthwhile to pace yourself, and especially for the first one.
Yeah, that's right. And one other thing as well to keep in mind is that when we talk about there's a difference between drinking and sipping. So make sure you actually drink at least the sort of majority, which would be about the minimum size, about 45 ml. You should drink that, in a couple of swallows, or at the very least, give it 2-3 minutes, that type of thing, 2 to 4 minutes, rather than just sort of sip it very, very slowly. We want drinking rather than sipping. Now, there's a nice custom that we act like kings. Rebbetzin Dove?
Well, I've got to sit up and down, so I'm going to pretend that I'm going to be the queen. But I have to tell you something, Rabbi Birnbaum. I just won a prize of my own personalized cushion cover for Seder night. So it's going to have to be Bubby's Pesach Seder cover. This is my husband's. We do have, and all of us actually have a pillow and put pillows for everybody at the table. And then we have that ability to be leaning comfortably, because in our house, the women lean as well.
That's right. So you want to take a pillow beforehand. It's always fun getting them ready, decorating the pillowcases. Then everyone has a pillow, and therefore when you lean, you're going to be leaning to your left-hand side, and you do it in a way that it is comfortable as well. You've got a little pillow there to lean on. Now, the nice custom people have is to pour someone else's cup, so that nobody's pouring their own cup. Someone else is pouring, again, acting like royalty. And in our family, every year someone's got to spill. Do you do that as well in your family? Someone's got to spill the drink. The only question is who will win? Who will be the first? Okay. So when that first person spills their cup, then give them a cheer. Because it's Seder night and you're going to enjoy it. Okay, I think that's done. We're done with the Kiddush and Kaddish. We're on to the next, which is the Karpas. Okay. Now, the Karpas is dipping a vegetable. So all of those people who are going to be eating should wash their hands first in the same way that you would normally wash your hands for al netilat yadayim before eating bread, but you do not make a bracha. What have you got there, Rebbetzin Dove?
I actually boiled my potatoes. And we obviously are not going to be able to eat enough, which is probably the most difficult time at the Seder, because everybody is a little bit hungry, especially because it's going to be after Shabbos without challah. So we're all going to be eating whatever we're going to be eating all day. I will be sending out some tips of what you can be serving all day on Shabbos. But I prepare the potatoes to a size that would not require an after blessing. And I will also always recommend have it ready, whatever you can have ready. And I have a plastic container with my salt water for dipping, which is covered. Okay, so it goes in the fridge, and then I'll take it out and we will pass around the plate, and everybody we open up, obviously, the tub, and then they can dip it into the water. And obviously you're going to tell them about the washing, but we use potato. And my husband has a beautiful idea, which he talks about the potato and the dirty potato that we elevate and bring to our Pesach table.
Lovely. I feel like I'm back at your Seder table already, just hearing.
Together. This is the most difficult thing with Seder, not all being able to be together for our,
Exactly. So like Rebbetzin Dove said, the key here is not to eat too much. You may be hungry, but you should have actually less than a kazayas, which is less than the size of a small matchbox. Then it prevents any issue of saying an after bracha on it. So you really want just to have a little bit of this part. Don't worry, there'll be plenty to eat later on. And that's what you want to do with the karpas. Make sure that you dip it. You should use your hands when you hold it. So don't be nervous. Use your hands, dip it into that salt water. If you've got your own individual one, then that's lovely and pre-prepared. Some people do lean, other people do not lean. There are different customs for this. And the idea of the karpas really is for people to ask questions. So whether it's the children or it's the adults, the whole idea is to arouse people's curiosity, which is going to be key to everything in Seder night, really. The number of the questions that you can ask is key. It's a beautiful custom that you have with the questions, isn't there?
I was actually going to say about the smart strategies, because they have obviously, but we give everybody a little extra plastic dish cup, and as everybody asks questions, children or adults, they get a little treat that goes into their cup. Most of them can't really manage to hold back and wait, but we try and encourage them to keep it for later.
That's right. So you get rewarded for asking questions on Seder night. Okay, now we're going to go on to the matzah and the maror. Okay, so now this is the part where everything sort of becomes quite messy, because you've got two very special mitzvahs to do. That's underneath there are the matzahs, I believe.
Yes, I'm not allowed to bring the other matzahs down. They are right up there in the black bin bag, and they're waiting for Seder. That I'm not allowed to touch. That's my husband's domain. So I'm allowed to. But one of the things I need to remind everybody is to make sure that your matzah boxes that you'll need are actually opened before Yom Tov. And a second thing which I have, which is amazing, is your little board, which we'll talk about now when it comes to sizes.
Yeah, so what's key here as well is we want to make sure that we eat again and we don't just nibble. So that means we want to eat as much as we have to, and we want to do it in a short amount of time. And we don't eat too much as well. So how much does a person need to eat? How much of the matzah, how much of the maror? So for the average sort of thickness of matzah, it depends if you're using the machine ones or the hand ones. The machine ones being the square ones, and then the hand ones being the very big round ones. So those ones are obviously a lot bigger. So for your first time that you eat the matzah, which is just after making hamotzi, it's approximately 2/3 of the machine matzah and about a half of a hand-baked matzah. Please be aware that Rekuzen's matzah sizes are smaller than other brands of matzah. So if it's a Rekuzen's matzah, then it's more. It's probably of the whole matzah. There has a chart which actually sort of shows it very, very nicely. You can actually take a look briefly, and you can see that gives you an idea. So that's for your matzah, and the time that you should be eating your matzah in is ideally 2 to 4 minutes, or anything up to 9 minutes is also acceptable. But again, it's eating rather than nibbling.
And leaning.
And remember to lean. Thank you. While you're eating the matzah, remember to lean. Now the next thing, the next mitzvah which we're going to fulfill after eating the matzah is maror. And here Rebbetzin Dav has a good tip to speed this process up.
So one of the things that people don't really love in our household, or I'm sure last year and this year, it was very easy, because washing, checking, drying, and then wrapping your maror in the sizes which had been measured out on your board. Okay, and sorry, it's backwards, on your stalks, and measured, and then they are put into the fridge in a bowl or a plastic or a bag, a Ziploc, and they stay fresh for you for both Sedorim. But the most important thing is wash and dry and pat dry with a paper towel, making sure, because otherwise they're going to get soggy. But it is fantastic. Nobody has to worry about too much, too little. Pass the bowl around the table. But can you imagine when you were doing 40 for each night? That's 2 per people. That wasn't such a fun job to do. It took a good few hours.
Very good. And another good tip as well is make sure you get that lettuce which has been pre-checked as well. You can check it yourself, but it does take time to do that. One thing I would add as well is make sure not to lean for the maror, and then following that, remember that you've also got the sandwich to eat as well, which is the sandwich which has the matzah and the maror. Now, what's important about the maror as well, I'm going to get to this, the world famous Rebbetzin Dav's charoses. Have you made it already?
No, I'm cheating. These are the containers, but I put walnuts in so that I wasn't cheating completely. But the mayonnaise and the haraises are first things to be made on any agenda. And we have some travel boxes also going somewhere. But you can make a few containers so that they're around the table, so not everybody going to make sure that they all get their haraises. And then the chrein, which is the little bits of actual maror that we cut actually up, we can add as well, not just the lettuce. Some people like to have the actual chrein either grated or cut up and added, and I prepare that also before.
Just one thing I would add about the charoses, although it may be delicious, remember that the main mitzvah is eating the maror. I've seen people take their charoses and sort of spread it, over the maror like a sandwich. It's not meant to be a sandwich, a maror and charoses. You dip it in the charoses and then sort of shake it off. You can see my halacha hotline number. I'm the director of that halacha hotline. Those questions will come to me. So please do use that for any questions, both before Pesach, in the run-up, whether it's about cleaning, whether it's about anything that we've spoken about tonight, this evening. Rebbetzin, you wanted to show us the Seder plate briefly?
Well, I just wanted to show you as well an easy way to have your Seder plate if you're not ordering it through Seed or any of us, is to make sure that if you want to keep it nice and fresh and not on the plate, put whatever you need into a container. Obviously, your egg, which I haven't burned yet, but that, and also your zroa, your bone, either your wing or your neck, which you will burn on the gas, okay, that should also be wrapped and put away in the fridge so it stays fresh for both nights. And we'll say l'chaim, because this is the kos shel Eliyahu that we use the next day for our kiddush. And this is the one that we're all going to be drinking from when we greet Mashiach, and we're going to be dancing in the streets of Yerushalayim and having our Seder in front of the Kaisel. So we're all looking forward to that. And recipes can also be asked for. We'll be happy to send them out.